Hello, this is Jockin, coach of the San Francisco Cinderace. Today I'm going to be running through my Week 2 team builder for the mighty Psyducks. So right off the bat, he's got a lot of things that I don't want to deal with, like the Toxtricity, the Copper, the Togekiss, those sort of things. But something I did notice, his team has a lot of ground weaknesses, but he has done a good job covering for it. He's got the Ninjask, the Togekiss, and the Hydreigon that are all immune. And then a couple things that don't mind taking ground hits like Gastrodon and Poliwrath. That said, I'm still going to bring ground moves, but I do need to make sure I have ways to deal with Hydreigon and Togekiss. As far as the Gmax matchup goes, my Gmax wins pretty easily. I don't need Berry unless he gets running with some special attack boosts before I can get Rillaboom in, because I think I only take like 60%. So I'm not too worried about the Gmax matchup, because unless he brings Berry, which is the ground resist berry, Rillaboom will one-shot him with Gmax high horsepower, so not too worried about that one there. And then overall, it's a decent matchup. Something I do need to watch out for is he has two different water absorbers, Gastrodon with Storm Drain, Poliwrath with Water Absorb, so it could be possible that he brings both of them. I don't see that being too likely, but it is a possibility. I'm expecting Gastrodon over the Poliwrath. But it is possible he swaps them around, or like I said, even brings both. So I don't expect Dracovish to do too much this week, but he's still going to come just because he's a good answer to a couple of things. So he will be there. Otherwise, let's get into the team real quick. So the 6 we're bringing, we're going to be bringing the Rillaboom, the Dracovish, the Salazzle, Umbreon, Gardevoir, and Mudsdale. The big switch this week was no Skarmory. So let me come back over here to explain why no Skarmory. So Skarmory is very solid. It's got some pretty good statistics, but one of its big downfalls is its special defense. It's not a bad special defense, but in combination with an average HP stat, it's not that great. And even though it only has 2 weaknesses, those 2 weaknesses are electric and fire. So right off the bat, he's got a fire type, he's got an electric type, but if we go down the list, Hydreigon gets fire coverage, Togekiss gets fire coverage, Copper gets fire and electric coverage. I don't think Frostlass it gets Thunderbolt too. Poliwrath gets the punches. So pretty much everything except like 3 things get something that scares Skarmory, and most of them are special attackers. So that said, as much as I want to bring Skarmory because I do like the idea of setting up rocks, it would make it really hard if you brought Ninjask, Frostlass. It's going to make it hard on the Marowak and the Togekiss, even the Hydreigon if I set up Stealth Rocks. I don't think Skarmory is the way to go this week, so I brought Mudsdale as a sort of replacement. He deals with a lot of the team a little bit better, but let's get back to explaining the team here. So up first we have our Rillaboom. Like I said, I considered Berry, which is half damage from a super effective poison attack, to deal with the Gmax Toxtricity. But if we come over here, I was looking at the damage calcs. If we pull up Rillaboom Gmax and then we pull up Toxtricity, we'll go with the Choice Specs set, even though he's probably not running Choice Specs. It doesn't matter when we are Dynamaxed anyways. I should bring up the Gmax one. Toxtricity Gmax, there we go. Just so we get the move, 50, okay. You can see, even though we're both level 50, nothing's doing too much in the way of damage to me there. Like, you can see the Sludge Wave turns into Max Ooze. That's still only doing like, I don't know, 30 at most, so I'm not too worried about it. And like I said, the Max Quake is going to be one-shotting him if he does not have Berry, and if we switch that to Berry, you can see it still does a good chunk, and I should be able to deal... Oh, this is still the Berry set, that's why it's not doing anything. I did not update it when I switched this to Miracle Seed. I was like, that damage does not sound right. There we go. You can see it's 53 to 61, but because I'll be faster than him unless something weird happens with Tailwind, I'm not too worried. The Max Quake will be able to kill him. That's with Berry. If he doesn't have Berry, it's just a one-shot straight up, so I'm not too worried about the Gmax matchup there. As far as the rest of it goes, he's able to one-shot Gastrodon that's not carrying Berry. Let's see, Gastrodon. It would be a physically defensive set with Berry that would be able to live. You can see if we're in regular form here, it's only going to be doing 38 to 45 with a Stab, Grassy Glide in grassy terrain, which is very impressive that's because it's Dynamax. I'm not on top of my game today, I apologize. 77 to 90%, that's more what I was expecting. That's with Berry. So it lives one, it won't live the second, and even if it's carrying Ice Beam, it's still not going to be able to one-shot me. It does half my health. So if it doesn't carry Rindo Berry and it carries anything else, the Grassy Glide is going to one-shot it. And the same goes for the Poliwrath. If we say a physically defensive Poliwrath, you can see that it doesn't particularly want to take a Grassy Glide either. And let's say it runs Ice Punch, it's not going to be one-shotting the Rillaboom either. So he's going to be able to deal with those couple things as the big threats. He does carry, I think I put Drain Punch, yeah. Drain Punch is there to be able to hit the Hydreigon as well as the Copperajah, although I do have high horsepower that hits Copperajah too. That's the main reason, is for the Hydreigon. The biggest thing that's going to stop the Rillaboom, I don't have a good way to deal with Togekiss. Rillaboom doesn't get anything that threatens the Togekiss. No Steel, no Rock, no Electric, no nothing. So Togekiss is going to be the big thing that can stop Rillaboom if he brings it in. It gets fire coverage, it gets Stab Air Slash with Thunder Wave, so it's going to be annoying to deal with, but I believe if it comes in while we're G-Maxed, we can deal with it with a 2-shot. Let's see. G-Max. Yeah, we can 2-shot it if we have the 2 turns of G-Max, so that can work. Or if we get set up with our Swords Dance. I should say that's our last move. Swords Dance is going to let us punch through just about everything on the team. If we get a Swords Dance up, then if it's not faster than us, it just dies. Like, the only thing that would really threaten us then would be the Hydreigon or the Frostlass. So if I see an opportunity to Swords Dance, like on, say, Copperajah, if I don't think it's carrying Heat Crash, that's probably when I would do it. But yeah, that is the plan with Rillaboom. I should say the Miracle Seed gives grass moves a little extra power. Up next we have Mr. Dracovish. Now, I wanted to put a Choice Scarf. If you look, a lot of his things aren't that fast. His fastest stuff is the Frostlass and the Ninjask, which I don't expect him to bring, and even if he does, they aren't too threatening, and he has to give up something that would be threatening, so I'd be okay with that. But yeah, the Choice Scarf would have been very nice. It would have let me outspeed the Hydreigon. If it's not Scarf, the Togekiss, the Toxtricity, it would break the Speed tie. I'd be faster than the Poliwrath if it's there for sure, but I put the Choice Scarf on something else, so we're bringing Choice Band this week. We're going to be Choice Banded. I'm not sure if I want to do Adamant or Timid. Not Timid, Jolly. Adamant or Jolly. Jolly does let me Speed tie with the Toxtricity, so I might be going that way. I'm not 100% set on that yet, but it's not too big of a difference. It would just be, like I said, a Speed tie with Toxtricity. You can see we're both base 75, so if he brings a max speed Toxtricity and I bring a max speed without the nature, then I'll be slower. So I have to decide if I want to do that or if I want a little bit of extra damage on the Dracovish. But into the moves, we're carrying Vicious Rend, Crunch, Iron Head, and Earthquake. Dracovish gets kind of okay physical coverage, but you can see there's not a ton of variation in what he gets. Like, even some of the moves you might think, oh, he gets fighting coverage, but it's just stuff like low kick. He doesn't get like super power or anything like that. So he's kind of, I wouldn't say pigeonholed, but he does have a limited set of things that he can bring. So this is what we went with this week, the Vicious Rend just to hit whatever. Crunch is a good option that lets me hit things like the Frostlass if they're there, as well as the Marowak on the Switch, even though I have Vicious Rend. If Gastrodon is still alive, the Crunch is a safer option. Then I have Iron Head, Earthquake. We aren't carrying a Dragon move this week, despite Hydreigon being there for a couple of reasons. So Hydreigon is going to be faster than us guaranteed because we're not Scarfed, right? So we don't want to be fighting it just because it's going to be carrying Draco Meteor and we'll probably get one shot. If he's not Scarf, he's almost certainly Specs or Life Orb with Nasty Plot. So we're probably going to die to a Draco Meteor. We don't want to stay in with Dracovish. So we don't want him fighting the Hydreigon, and he has the Togekiss, so if I locked myself into, say, Outrage, he just switches into Togekiss, and then I'm kind of trapped. So didn't want to bring a Dragon move this week. We have Iron Head so that we can hit the Togekiss or the Frostlass, and then we are carrying Earthquake, because like I said, a lot of his things don't appreciate taking ground moves, and if I speed type with the Toxtricity, there's always that chance that I outspeed and kill him with an Earthquake. So that's our Dracovish moveset for this week. Strong Jaw still is the ability. No Water Absorb, and Sand Rush is not out, so not using it yet. Up next, we have Salazzle. I have an Expert Belt. I've debated on putting a Shuca Berry myself on Salazzle, but I think I'm going to stick with Expert Belt. We'll see, though, because I'm not bringing Skarmory, I don't have a ground immunity, and he does have a lot of things to get ground coverage. The Gastrodon, the Copperajah, the Hydreigon, the Marowak, so it is something I do need to watch out for, but I'm not too worried about it. We're sticking with Corrosion. I'm not bringing a super status-heavy Salazzle, so I don't feel Oblivious is necessary. And moves-wise, we're not even bringing Toxic this week. We're only running Nasty Plot as our status move. It's going to help us punch through the whole entirety of the team. About the only thing that stops us is specially defensive Gastrodon, and I have Rillaboom plus another way to deal with the specially defensive Gastrodon. Otherwise, Salazzle can kind of just run over the game if it gets a Nasty Plot off. It's gonna, excuse me. The moves, Sludge Wave, Flamethrower, Dragon Pulse, they're gonna let it hit just about everything, at least neutrally, and a lot of the things that are big threats, like the Togekiss and the Hydreigon, it'll just one-shot them straight up with one of those moves. So even the Copperajah is gonna die pretty nicely to like a boosted Flamethrower. So it can take out the core of his lineup right there pretty easily on its own, and it outspeeds everything that is not Ninjask. Like I said, not super expecting Ninjask, it's possible. He could be bringing it to try and baton pass some speed boosts to help avoid Dracovish outspeeding some of his slower things, like the Gastrodon or the Marowak, but I don't see it being all that likely, so I haven't planned too much for it. If it does show up, it's not the end of the world. But we'll move on here to Umbreon. Now, this is an interesting Umbreon set that I brought. The main thing being the EVs. This is sort of the first time you're going to see me tweaking EV spreads to be pretty specific here. I don't do it too often, but when the matchup calls for it, I do. Here, the idea is Mudsdale is going to be my other sort of tanky, wally Pokemon this week, and he is wearing an Assault Vest, so we wanted Umbreon to be more on the physical side of things, and with Umbreon being this set, it helps it take a couple physical moves from Marowak. It helps it take some physical stuff from Copperajah, because Copperajah gets some fighting moves that spook it. So that's the main reason there. And then the rest of the EVs that I don't need to guarantee I can start wishing without dropping below half and getting two-shot, I put them into special defense so that I can be doing what I want to do, walling the Gastrodon, walling the Hydreigon, those sort of things. Moves-wise, we're carrying Wish, Protect, Foul Play, Toxic. The Wish Protect is just for recovery on my own. Wish will heal the rest of the team as well. Foul Play does excellent damage to Marowak. It just dies if I Foul Play it, and it's even slower than me unless he's max speed. And Marowak usually runs bulky, so I'm expecting to be faster than it, and a Foul Play will kill it straight up. A Foul Play does a bunch to the Hydreigon, the Toxtricity, and the Copperajah as well. It'll do a lot to the Frostlass, but it won't kill, and it'll do a lot to the Poliwrath, but it won't kill. So it's a good offensive option, and then Toxic lets me hit the Togekiss on the switch or stall out the Gastrodon if I want to do it that way. That is the main part of the Umbreon set. We're running Synchronize again because the Gastrodon might be carrying status, or if I notice that he's trying to like Will-O-Wisp me with one of these two, I can bring an Umbreon because it doesn't mind getting burned and synchronize it back to whatever just burned me. It's also there because Togekiss sometimes runs Thunder Wave, and Umbreon getting paralyzed is not the end of the world. It's not great, but if I can come in on the Thunder Wave, synchronize it back on the Togekiss, that's the idea. But yeah, that's the Umbreon set this week. So mostly defensive, the rest into special defense. Up next we have Gardevoir. Now this is what I scarfed this week. I was debating on scarfing Dracovish like I said, but I felt that Gardevoir is the better option. Gardevoir easily outspeeds the Hydreigon if he doesn't scarf the Hydreigon. So if I notice it's on anything else, if I notice the scarf is on like Togekiss, then Hydreigon's gonna die just to Gardevoir. Like if we pull up the calculator here, Gardevoir, Hydreigon. Hydreigon is not wanting to stick around and take any kind of fairy attack. You can see that it does 200 to 243. If he's carrying a fairy resist berry, where is it? It's Roselli Berry, there we are. He still dies in one hit. If he is not, he's dead for sure. We'll just put whatever on there right now. But what I was going to say, even with a Choice Scarf, let's put that on, Choice Scarf. You can see he only does half my health with a Flash Cannon. So he doesn't even kill me. As long as I don't switch straight into a Flash Cannon, I'll be good to go. And if I do switch straight into a Flash Cannon, I just bring the Gardevoir out, I go into the Umbreon, and I wish the Gardevoir back to full health. So that is the plan there. The moves are, this week, Moonblast, Shadow Ball, Psychic, Thunderbolt. So Psychic is there to hit the Toxtricity, because Toxtricity can be a decent answer with its poison coverage. Moonblast is there for the Hydreigon mainly. Thunderbolt to hit the Togekiss. And then we're carrying Shadow Ball to hit the Marowak and the Frostblast, as well as the Gastrodon. Although Psychic or Moonblast is ideal for Gastrodon as well. It's most likely going to be me. If I don't know what's coming in, Shadow Ball is pretty safe that it hits everything except the Hydreigon for at least neutral damage, so it's a pretty safe option if I can't guess what's coming in. That's the idea with the Shadow Ball. I debated on Energy Ball because that would one-shot Gastrodon, but there's other ways to deal with it. If Rillaboom goes down, I can still chip it down with the Dracovish or the Salazzle or the Umbreon, so that's the plan there. And last we have Mudsdale. Now, like I said, I didn't want to bring Skarmory. Mudsdale is my other Stealth Rocker, but I didn't want to run that either. I wanted to run Assault Vest on the Mudsdale this week. It helps him stay pretty bulky and deal with some things that would threaten him otherwise, like the Togekiss. If I pull this up here, you can see Mudsdale versus the Togekiss. This is a nasty plot set. We're not going to give it the boost just yet, because if we do, then he doesn't want to be fighting it. But you can see an unnasty plotted Air Slash does 20%, 20 to 26. And if it's got a Dazzling Gleam, let's throw that on there. Dazzling Gleam, you can see 24 to 28. So he takes it very well. And then he can come in and Iron Head, or, oh man, it didn't save. I closed Showdown and it didn't save. Or no, I just didn't update it. It did save. Okay. I was going to say, I was running Body Slam instead of Rock Slide, but it still shows Rock Slide here. Iron Head is there to hit the Togekiss for the most part. But if you come back here, you can see High Horsepower is going to be hitting the Toxtricity. It's going to hit the Copperajah, the Marowak, the Roselia pretty nicely. The Iron Head is there for the Togekiss. Close Combat is there for the Hydreigon. And then Body Slam is there if I want to hit anything other than the Ghost types. But yeah, that's the team overall. Like I said, the big thing that's kind of got me worried is he's either going to run like the Thunder Wave Air Slash Togekiss set could be a problem. That's half the reason I'm bringing Mudsdale, is to be immune to Thunder Wave. So I just have to hope if he does bring that one that I don't get flinched too badly. And then it's also a very nice answer to Toxtricity and Marowak, that it walls both of them pretty well. But yeah, that's the idea. And like I said, if I had to guess on how the match ends, I would say it depends on if I get one of my boosts on Rillaboom or Salazzle off. But if I don't, I see it probably being a 2-0, and if I do, I could see it being a 4-0. It just depends on how easy it is for me to get a boost off, or to take out his Water Absorber and clear out stuff that would prevent Dracovish. The idea is I need to get a big sweep off, though. Oh, I forgot to talk about Gastrodon, or not Gastrodon, Gardevoir is running Trace again. This week there's a lot of interesting abilities to trace. I could trace potentially Cursed Body, or Lightning Rod, or even Rock Head off the Marowak. Gastrodon is going to be a trace target for sure. I want to be tracing Storm Drain, because if I trace Storm Drain, then any water move boosts my special attack, which would be very nice. It would help Gardevoir sweep through the team pretty easily. I could also be tracing Serene Grace so that I can get some drops on Shadow Ball or something a little easier, even Sheer Force from the Copperajah, as well as Levitate. So a lot of cool options to trace this week. Interested to see how I can use Gardevoir, but like I said, the big one is bringing Gardevoir in on the Gastrodon and tracing Storm Drain. So I might even swap, what's it called, Thunderbolt for Energy Ball, now that I think about it. But yeah, that's the overview of the team this week. I apologize, this one wasn't as concise. I was kind of a little more scatterbrained. I hadn't been thinking about this too much and realized, like, oh crap, I gotta put together my team builder real quick. So it was kind of a spur of the moment one, so I apologize for that. But thank you for watching. The battle, we don't have a specific time scheduled, so I can't give you a exact date, but I know it'll be this weekend for sure. But thank you for watching.